This is Kits and Wagers. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen for Game Week 22 in the Premier League. We got 8 bets coming to everyone, 3 games to break down. Chris, you moved last time we talked. You were about to move. You're in your new recording studio here. So how's it going over there?
It's good, Adam. Good to be back. I feel like it's been about 12 days, I think, since our last episode. I'm in the new spot. It's been, just a lot of moving boxes, hanging frames, putting stuff together, taking stuff apart, all that good stuff. But yeah, 12 days since we last talked. And even prior to that, we had done back-to-back game weeks where it was 4 games, I think, was 1 week, 4 or 5 games. So we haven't had like a good, healthy 10 match slate in probably over a month, probably about a month now. So
it was our Christmas cookie episode.
Yeah, so it's been over a month now. So yeah, excited to have a full 10 games to pick from. I mean, we usually in the parlay we had been doing the last couple episodes, it was like we would do 3 games and then there would be about 1 or 2 games left, and we kind of have to pick from that. And so nice to have a full slate of any game we want to select here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And yeah, we're in the new stew, so ready to chop up some bets.
Chop up some bets. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the top 3 Christmas cookie episode, make sure to check that out. Go to our YouTube page over on RotoWire Soccer. We talked a little bit about Christmas cookies. That was, I don't even know, Game Week 19 maybe. That was a long time ago. It was before Boxing Day, or it might have been Boxing Day matches. I don't know. It was.
We might have to, for Valentine's Day, we might have to cook something up. That's coming up in 2 weeks.
Top three flowers.
Yeah. Top 3 ways to disappoint your significant other on Valentine's Day.
That'll probably be a little more fun. But as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, we got 3 games on the slate: Luton Town, Brighton, Liverpool, Chelsea, Wolverhampton, Manchester United. 3 different matches, and I think all 3 pretty interesting and different games to talk about here. But Tuesday, we got 5 games going on. This first game we're talking about, Luton Town are home against Brighton. Luton Town are plus 340 to win. Brighton are minus 130. The draw is plus 300. And we're looking at over 2.5 goals is minus 155. Under 2.5 goals is plus 125. If you want over 3.5, that is plus 165. So Luton Town, they're at home. They still don't have Kabore, who I think actually plays today in the African Cup of Nations. Brighton still don't have Miedema, and I believe Adinger is still away as well. But so Brighton coming off a 5-2 win at Sheffield United in the FA Cup. Luton Town coming off a 2-1 win at Everton in the FA Cup. So 2 teams coming off wins in cup play. Brighton are still a decent favorite despite being away from home. How do you think this game plays out? Luton Town have been a pretty good side at home this season. Do you think that comes into play here?
Yeah, really interesting matchup here. You mentioned Brighton in a pretty rich vein of form right now. They have just come off like 2 pretty sizable FA Cup matches. I was looking at their schedule, and they haven't played in the Premier League since New Year's Day, or I guess the 2nd, since January 2nd. They had back-to-back FA Cup matches, no EPL games. They beat Stoke 4-2 and Sheffield 5-2. So a couple cup matches, maybe haven't been playing in the league as of late. I'm sorry, that was away. I was looking at away. But so basically they haven't, they've been pretty strong lately. Luton Town at home, you mentioned, is really they've been improving quite a bit. I was looking at their home record, and it's pretty strong overall. They've taken some points from some good teams. Last 4 matches, they had 2 FA Cup matches in a row there. They beat Bolton, beat Everton 2-1, and then they got draws against Burnley and then Luton Town previously. So it's been interesting.
First leg of that Bolton leg.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was a replay. So
I think you said Luton Town drew themselves. Yeah, that's right.
Luton, they were 0-0 at home against Bolton, and then they got the win away at Bolton. So
yeah,
they have, they've been taking points, I guess, and at least playing for replays. They've been pretty strong overall. Despite Brighton, playing pretty well lately, I like Luton at home. I think they were, seconds away from a win over Arsenal. They got points off of Liverpool at home. Arguably could have won that as well. They've just been pretty solid overall at home. And I just like, I just kind of like I like them as an underdog here. I like the double chance. It's at -110, so nearly even odds. But I think it's I'm a little weary of it, but I love them to maybe take a point here, a surprise point, and keep what they've got going at home for them. Any concerns about that one?
No, I'm kind of thinking the same as you here. Luton Town at home. I don't think you read the record off, but I guess it isn't that good. But if you look at the goal differential, it is a little different. I guess they have the same record home and away. So maybe we shouldn't be talking up Luton Town at home, but
I mean,
they've only
typically a team's getting more points at home than away.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, they've only allowed 17 goals at home in 10 home matches, which is
nine of those came against Arsenal, City, and Chelsea. So
yeah, I was just looking at that recent Chelsea match. They went down 2-0 in the first half. Chelsea had 2 goals in the first half, and they had 0.35 xG from those goals. I honestly I can't remember that game, so I'm not gonna talk like I know. I remember what happened there, but Chelsea got a couple goals, and then Luton Town kind of racked up opportunities and almost got a couple late goals. It was 3-0, then they got 2 goals late and almost made it 3-3 at the end there. But so that was probably their last home game in league play. No, it was December 30th there. Yeah. And yeah, as you said, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, those are their prior home games, and then they beat Newcastle 1-0. So you look at it like, okay, there's a lot of difficult home matches. They've also already played Tottenham and Liverpool at home. So, I mean, we could look at these home away records, and it's pretty clear a lot of these home matches have been against top 5, top 6 sides. So I guess that has to go into it a little bit there. As for Brighton are playing okay. You know, they got that 5 goals against Sheffield United. They've been using this formation here, kind of like a 4-3-1-2. I know they changed it up against Sheffield United, but I think they're going to go back to this formation with James Milner and Gross and Gilmore in the midfield. And that's been a little more defensive than kind of what we've seen from Brighton under De Zerbi. And I just think that you throw that in with Luton Town at home, coming off with some confidence against win against Arsenal. I actually found it's a decent bit of value here with my bet. So I'm going Luton Town race to 5 corners. This was plus 240 on Monday. It is now plus 220. So the odds are changing for a reason here. But Luton Town are just a team that I kind of like taking some kind of corner bets when they're an underdog, because I think I took them over 4.5 corners against Everton in the FA Cup, and they finished with 6 or something like that at Everton. So it's just like a team that can, go on the wings and get corners, win corners through Doughty, through Agbene on the wings, and could put pressure on opposing teams' back line. And as for Brighton, they've been a little hit or miss in terms of actually getting corners because they've been playing a little differently, maybe through centrally more so than crossing the ball, like the days of Solomon March kind of a thing. They've been using Buonanotte kind of playing in a more central role, and with Joe Pedro and Danny Welbeck in there, like those guys aren't crossing it from out wide. So that usually leads to inconsistent corner numbers, I'll say. So if we're getting so much value here at plus 220, I'll take Luton Town race to 5 corners right there. And then, I mean, that you can actually throw this together in a single game parlay. I'm not sure what it'll come out to, but I guess they're not really related, but throw in Luton Town double chance at plus 110. You could probably get to plus 400 there with that bet.
Yeah, definitely. It is interesting that, I mean, they're missing a couple players, I guess, for Brighton, or could be missing a couple players. So, I mean, the more, like, anytime you're chucking James Milner into your midfield, you're probably not getting out on the front foot as much as you typically would. But yeah, I mean, Luton Town in their past 4 away matches too, they lost to Chelsea 3-2, they lost to Arsenal 2-0, and then they drew their previous 2 against Crystal Palace and West Ham. So it's not like they've been winning games away. So yeah, I'm interested to see if they do in fact have a bit more defensive setup that you kind of referenced.
Yeah, I put together. You can't do race to corners bets, at least in single game parlays over at DraftKings. All of our odds we get from DraftKings, but I put together over 4.5 corners for Luton Town, and then Luton Town double chance, and you're getting plus 320 odds there. So if you like both those bets, you're basically I guess that's basically 220 plus 110 there. It's okay odds there, I'll say.
Yeah.
Next game we are talking about, we're moving to Wednesday. So let's look at Wednesday. Again, this is our soccer betting page over at RotoWire. You can compare odds at 4 different sports books, and it'll give you the best odds for each of those. We got Tottenham at home, Manchester City at home, and Liverpool are at home on Wednesday. So 3 games where I guess Liverpool are a bigger favorite at home against Chelsea than Tottenham are at home against Brentford, which is kind of surprising. A little surprising just because Brentford have been struggling a bit. But look at this. We got Liverpool at minus 180 here at home against Chelsea to win. Then Chelsea are plus 425. The draw is plus 370. And then if we're looking at goals, you're probably going to want to go to, if you want to go goals, you're going to have to go to over 3.5. That's plus 110. Under 3.5 is minus 135. So as usual with Liverpool matches, goals are expected, and then Chelsea's back line, kind of unpredictable. Injury-wise, we should get Ben Chilwell into the starting 11. Malo Gusto probably not going to be able to ready to start, and Cuckoo is going to be in the squad, according to Pochettino. Levi Colwill, I believe, actually is out. So there are a couple injuries, probably going to be Chilwell and Disasi as fullbacks. Something to keep an eye on. And then Liverpool, I don't know, maybe you have thoughts on what their lineup's going to look like, but we have so many players returning from injury that it's unclear how Klopp is going to want to line up here. A lot of these guys, I think actually all of them, Soboslai, Robertson, TAA, returned off the bench. I think they played Saturday in the FA Cup. So is Alexander-Arnold going to start again? Is Robertson going to start? Is Soboslai going to start? Who's going to start in the front 3 without Salah, who's out for another couple weeks? McAllister is returning from whatever injury he had. So there's a few questions here for Liverpool, and it's mainly because this might be the healthiest they've been in a few months now. So you're the Liverpool guy. So do you have any insight into how Liverpool is going to line up here?
Yeah, I was just taking a peek here. We got Robertson in the starting lineup. I mean, he's been out for 3 months now, 4 months, like 3.5 months.
He played. He came on at 55 minutes.
Came off the bench against Norwich City to play like a half hour or so. I'm a little weary that he'll come in and start again right away. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep Joe Gomez out there, who's been playing pretty well at left back, and then maybe just bring in Robertson in the second half. But the other thing is the Soboslai and Alexander-Arnold came back into the lineup on Sunday as well. I think Trent could probably. I mean, he was out for 3 weeks with a little minor kind of knee injury, 3-4 weeks.
I think it was hamstring though, wasn't it? I think it was hamstring.
Okay. Well, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in the lineup over Robertson, just because the extent of time that they've both been out is like a little bit different. He's probably fit. A little bit more fit, hasn't quite lost it as Robertson has. So that's probably the one thing I will say. Like they've had Gomez and Bradley at the outside backs, and I mean Bradley's coming off 2 assists against Norwich City. Gomez has been really strong, still trying to get that first goal for the club. Overall, this is a great matchup. Like they played to the 1-1 draw earlier in the season. I think that was the first game of the season. It was back in August. Chelsea. Despite all the problems that they've had, maybe a little bit earlier in the season, they've been super strong lately. I think they've got 4 wins in their past 6. I will say a lot of those have come, at least home. Away, they haven't been quite as good. They, looking at their record in the Premier League away, they did just come off that 3-2 win over Luton Town. But prior to that, they had 4 losses in a row to Wolves, Everton, Man United, Newcastle United, in which they didn't look that great. So it's interesting that I did kind of think that given Chelsea's form, like the amount of points they've gotten in the past month or so, that this would be a little bit tighter than minus 180. And I think you said plus 425 for Chelsea. I thought it'd maybe be a little closer, like minus 150, plus 300 ish. So the money line, I mean, obviously minus 180, you're not getting anything. So I felt that that was a little bit off, but I think overall you look at these two teams and they've seen plenty of each other in the last couple seasons. Of course, they last season I think they just had Premier League games where both league games were 0-0 last year. Of course, they had the 1-1 draw back in August. But even back, going back to the previous season when they played for 2 cup finals, both of those matches were 0-0 after 120 minutes. They both went to penalty kicks. So we've got 2 goals in the past 10 or past 5 matches between these 2 teams. So leads me to believe like maybe we're not going to, of course we're missing Salah up front. I think we have Armando Broja in the starting 11 for Chelsea. So missing a little bit of the fireworks up front for both teams. I guess Liverpool still most of their attackers, but given the recent matchups they've had and missing Salah, missing Nkunku, missing some of those other guys up front, I feel like there's a lot of value in the unders here. I've got under 2.5 at plus 185. Kind of going for it on this one. Pretty big odds. I just don't think that we're going to see like a 2-1. I think this is going to be a pretty cagey affair. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea are able to pick up points here. Also, Liverpool, one of the better teams defensively at Anfield. So that kind of plays a role in it too. I like the under 2.5 here at plus 185. And then I think I saw, this is a random bet that I chucked to Adam here before the show, but Darwin Nunez to give an assist is plus 300. That's just a fun little bet if you're interested in something like that. He's been, maybe not the most prolific in front of net, but has been, linking up for a lot of assists and goals. So.
Yeah, if he's on that left wing again, which I think he was in that last league match when Diaz was kind of on the right side a little bit in that Salah role. If it's going to be Disasi there at right back, if you got Darwin Nunez going against Disasi, good luck, I guess.
There's certainly a speed difference there. I mean, Disasi probably a little more comfortable at center back than outside back.
Yeah, it's just like Reece James is out, Malo Gusto not ready to start kind of a thing. So they have another, I don't know if he's like 18 or 19, but Alfie Gilchrist, I believe is his name, has been getting some minutes there lately in some cup matches. So maybe he starts, but I wouldn't project that. The more I was looking at it, I was thinking maybe Liverpool winning a clean sheet. You look at Chelsea, their last away match, that Middlesbrough game when they probably had like 3 great chances to score. They ended up losing 1-0. They had that Luton Town match we just talked about, but before that, 2-1 loss at Wolverhampton, 2-0 loss at Everton, 2-1 loss at Manchester United, and then they lost 4-1 at Newcastle. A lot of losses, a lot of low scoring games for them, kind of struggling a little bit. I will say Nicholas Jackson could be an option from the bench. His team, his country just lost, I want to say yesterday, and Pochettino mentioned he could be back with the team tomorrow. But again, I mean, it's not going to be starting. I doubt he's going to be starting, 48 hours after.
Yeah, it was yesterday they lost in penalties.
I believe so. Yes, Senegal against Ivory Coast.
Yeah, on penalties.
Yeah, so he's not going to be starting, so I wouldn't, put too much thought into that. But I'm kind of on the same vein as Chris here. So the one thing I noticed from a lot of these Liverpool games, at least without Salah, is in the first half there's no goals. That they're struggling to score in all of these games, and then suddenly in the second half, whether it's a Klopp rotation or just like a halftime talk, then it's like, okay, Liverpool turn it on. 2 goals in the second half, 3 goals in the second half, something like that. But so many of the recent games, no goals in the first half. And I threw together a single game parlay here for this one. Liverpool money line with under 1.5 goals in the first half. That's plus 180 odds. So we're getting plus 180 on both of our bets. But you said you weren't that confident. Well, it's not as confident in Liverpool money line, but I think, you're on the under 1.5 goals in the first half, but we're getting same odds here. I assume you like your bet a little more, but I think I like my bet a little more.
So for me, the thing about the money line is they've played to 5 straight draws in 5 straight matches. Like they've been
Liverpool and Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Liverpool and Chelsea. Yeah. Like they've been super cagey affairs. Chelsea obviously have a laundry list of injuries, and Liverpool kind of getting their guys back, which is certainly
actually, I think it's been more than that.
Yeah, I guess
because they had these cup games that went to penalties. 7
straight draws between these 2 teams. So if you're interested in that, you can go over to I guess what would a draw be? A draw would be plus 370. That's kind of intriguing, at least just for a fun one. 7 straight draws is nothing to scoff at, but Yeah, I mean, I don't know. No Salah, obviously a big miss there. The money line is what scares me. I do, however, love I think Liverpool. There's some stat out there like Liverpool have gained the most amount of points from losing positions this season. They love giving up an early goal. So if you're interested in that, you can get Chelsea first goal at plus 170. So something to consider there too. But yeah, the money line, and then yeah, I mean, I think we're both on the under here a little bit. I mean, yours is just first half, mine's overall. But yeah, I think we're kind of aligned on not seeing a ton of goals in this matchup.
So Liverpool at home this season, the only time they've dropped points, home against Arsenal, which, okay, that was a game where, there's the Arsenal game. But and the other game was that Manchester United one where Manchester United came into the match without Bruno Fernandes and didn't play to win. They played for the scoreless draw, and that's what they got. Those are the only two times Liverpool have not won at home this season. That includes cup play, that includes Europa League. So I like that. That's what I'll say in my favorite. I would say a little worried just looking at some of these results about your under 2.5 bet, but
yeah, they've been filling it up at home for sure. But
there's been a lot of goals scored and a lot of goals allowed in some of these Liverpool home matches, but yeah, it hasn't been, it hasn't been like that without Salah though. He played in that Newcastle game, so we're only looking at basically 2 home matches without Salah. One of those was the Fulham game in the League Cup where they really didn't have a ton of opportunities until they scored in the 70th minute. They scored back-to-back goals. One of those was a deflected goal. And then this other home game was against Norwich City. So how much are we going to put into that? So there's a lot of goals in these home matches, but maybe some context will help a little bit when we're looking at things.
I mean, the plus 180 is indicative of the fact that maybe there's been a lot of goals at home, but that's why we're taking plus 180 because we're getting some pretty nice value there.
Actually, didn't the last time we have a Liverpool game you took the under?
I did.
What game was that?
That was the most recent game. It was that was a Premier League game, so that would have been Bournemouth, I think.
I want to say. Yeah, that's right. It was okay.
It was like it was 0-0 at half. Bournemouth looked really good. Jota got like a quick double, and then they finished it up with like a Darwin, back corner. Like it ended up being 4-0, but it was the under looked pretty good for quite a while.
You probably could have cashed out at halftime and gotten a decent amount of money. Yeah, 49th minute, 70th minute, 79th minute, and then 90th minute for those goals. So that's fun. That's a fun way to lose under 2.5 bet. I feel like that's happened to be.
I think it was your 175.
Yeah. Next game, we got 2 games on Thursday. This is the final day of game week 22. Wolverhampton are home against Manchester United. And, the odds makers are starting to come around a little bit here on this Manchester United team because these odds kind of surprised me a little bit because, Manchester United against Wolverhampton, this is usually like a spot where they'd be a little more of a favorite than this. We got Wolverhampton plus 170 to win. Manchester United plus 160 to win. The draw is plus 250. Over 2.5 goals minus 130. Under 2.5 goals plus 105. So we still got Joe Gomez suspended for Wolverhampton. Sarabia has some kind of calf issue. He-Chan is still out at the Asian Cup. So those are the absences for Wolverhampton. Manchester United, kind of similar to Liverpool, who just got just a bunch of guys back from injury. Luke Shaw started in the FA Cup. Lisandro Martinez started. Casemiro started. All these guys have missed recent time. And then, of course, we have the issue going on with Marcus Rashford in whatever's going on with him. But it sounds like he's going to be available for this. I don't know if he's going to start. Doesn't seem like a start that doesn't seem like a Ten Hag is going to be like, okay, after you pissed me off over the weekend, I'm not going to start you in this game. But never know what their relationship is like here. So Wolverhampton home against Manchester United. What do you got here? Manchester United coming off a Newport County win in the FA Cup.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's almost even odds. Like you would never see that in previous. I guess maybe you would, but in previous seasons where it's like Man United barely favored away to Wolverhampton. I think Wolverhampton's plus 170 money line. I mean, the return of like Luke Shaw is a really nice addition for them. I am interested to see what goes on with Rashford here. Like, I mean, we saw what Ten Hag did with Jadon Sancho. I mean, like, guy just never played and then got loaned out following some disciplinary issues.
Yeah, then he scored there in the
yeah. Now he's like lighting it up for Portman, so you gotta wonder there. But I don't know anything about that. Rashford apparently was like pictured at a club the night after saying he had an illness, or I don't really know what the whole. I'm not on the back page.
He was late to training or something because he was at a club hours earlier.
Hey, not the first footballer to ever do that.
Right.
So, at least there's a body of work for those guys. But yeah, I mean, you look at United did get like a nice 4-2 win over noted Newport County here. So like maybe not the best opponent, but good for the confidence either way. But you look at their past 6 matches in the league, and they have not been good. They've got 1 win in the past 6, 2 draws, 3 losses. And then you even like go back and look at their United's away form. I mean, they lost to Nottingham Forest. That was away. That was back in December. So lots changed since then, but lost to West Ham and just before Christmas. They drew Liverpool, of course, away. That was, great point for them. And then they lost to Newcastle the previous match away. So they have not been good away. However, you look at Wolverhampton at home, they've been really, really strong. Beat Everton 3-0, beat Chelsea, drew Nottingham Forest, beat Burnley, beat Tottenham, and then even then, and they drew Newcastle, Aston Villa, and then the probably best result of the season is they beat Man City at home. So they've been, I think they're unbeaten in the past. Would that be 8 matches at home in the league? So been really, really strong lately. I'm going out on a limb here. I woke up. We needed some big bets. The overall record here for me this season been getting a little too conservative. So I was like, what can we do to maybe catch up on a little bit of that? I love Wolves form at home. United, obviously some question marks. What's going on there? The one thing that does concern me, and you brought it up right off the top, is the return of some of their players. But I'm going Wolverhampton money line. They've taken some scalps this season at home. I mentioned City. Chelsea, Tottenham. They've got some really, really strong results. I would have loved to take the double chance, but it's not quite big enough here as we consider some bigger bets. So I'm on Wolverhampton money line. I just love what they're doing at home. That's plus 170. I don't think I need to explain it too much more than we have.
Yeah, Wolverhampton at home, pretty good bet. The one thing that's kind of surprising to me every time I look at the table, everyone always talks about, okay, Manchester United struggling, Eric Ten Hag out, and they're still sitting 8th place in the table. They're 3 points above Wolverhampton. There's still all these games where they get results that we kind of don't expect, kind of a thing. And that's just been kind of how their season's gone. They're getting guys back from injury, but I'm still like tentative about how much that means because a lot of these guys, Casemiro was kind of, I don't know. I think he was dropped from the starting 11 before his injury because he wasn't really playing that well. Antony also starting over Rashford here is another kind of a question there about what he can do. Luke Shaw is the one where maybe Luke Shaw is the guy that kind of gives them a boost a little bit just because he started every game in which he's been available this season, but he's been hurt so much that he only has like 10 starts. Yeah, he has 10 starts across Premier League and Champions League this season. So maybe he is the one guy back from injury that is maybe most important, playing at left back. So maybe you can look at it like that, though, as I'm looking at some of the results. I guess some of the bad results had come when Luke Shaw played at center back. So it's kind of tough to read into these guys returning from injury. So I'm not going to, dive further into that. But I got Wolverhampton raced to 5 corners at plus 110. A little group think here. A lot of our bets are kind of related. As they're not the same bets, but like your bets are kind of all going to mine here. So you went through your spiel. of Wolverhampton at home. So I don't have to say anything more. But Wolverhampton, why do we think Manchester United are going to get rack up corners in this spot? I think I bet against Manchester United corners a lot this season, and it's turned into winning bets for me. So we're getting plus money on it, which means kind of similar to the money lines. The odds are similar for both these teams to get to 5 corners. So if we're getting plus odds, I'll take Wolves race to 5 corners at plus 110. And then similar to a prior bet, Wolves money line plus 170, maybe just throw that into a single game parlay if you like both of them. Probably getting close to plus 300 odds there. So
kind of love it. Yeah. Interest. You could go ahead and just completely fade the Kids and Wagers podcast too. And you probably have all the opposite bets of us. So certainly a little, I'm a little weary of the groupthink when we pull up the Slack this weekend and see how the bets are doing, but should be interesting.
I would say like the one thing that Ten Hag likes to do is play for 1-0 wins. But this Wolverhampton team is so good at scoring off the counter that maybe that does play in the 1-0. Okay, Manchester United get a goal in the first half, and then they sit back a little bit, play for that 1-0 win. That doesn't help Wolverhampton because their best thing is probably getting Pedro Neto out on the wings, getting Cunha out, and getting those guys out on the counter. Maybe that's their best route of scoring. So maybe if Manchester United score, okay, what I was getting to is if you think Manchester United win, I think just take them win 1-0 instead of, and then you're getting, I don't know, plus 700 odds or something like that. So that is what, if you're opposite of us, that would be my suggestion for this game.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not actually. Oh, here we go. Plus 750 for 1-0 Manchester United win.
Could be interesting. On the RotoWire cheat sheet here too, Man United conceding per 90 6.43 corners a match. So they rank 3rd in terms of corners conceded this season.
Total, or is that away from home?
That's total. I'm just looking at the cheat sheet.
Okay.
Toggling to conceded, and then just for corners, you can toggle that.
7.3 away from home.
Oh, really? Wow. So, got to make you feel. I mean, the race is another aspect of the bet, but you should feel a little sense of security that they can hit 5 corners at least, which is sometimes the toughest part of these race to bets.
That is true. That is true. Speaking of the cheat sheet, I got that up. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, make sure to like our video, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We got a bunch of stuff coming out. We got DFS videos as usual. We got a lot of content videos, lineup videos, a lot of stuff going on. We might have some MLS coverage videos as well as MLS gets closer. So something to keep an eye on. But Chris, rotowire.com/soccer trial, 48-hour trial to get this cheat sheet. Look at all these games here. Manchester City. We'll just get into Team Parlay here because you're talking about this Manchester City-Burnley match. Manchester City are almost a 90% favorite to win this game. Implied goal total at 2.69. Clean sheet percentage. This may be one of the higher ones I've seen this season, but their clean sheet percentage is 56%. Home against Vincent Kompany and Burnley. Tell us about this game.
Manchester City is like they're just starting to get the gemstones back. The Holland is coming back.
The righteous gemstones.
Yeah, exactly. Righteous gemstones. They're just really getting all their pieces back. It's about that time of the year when they just put the pedal to the metal and just bulldoze everybody. De Bruyne came back and they got that. I think this feels like forever ago now, but this might have been like 3 weeks ago, where they got that late win over Newcastle. De Bruyne comes on, puts in, a pinpoint world-class ball is it Oscar Bob? And then he finishes it off with that really, really lovely touch. In Holland, I don't see if he's coming back yet, but I'm just like,
he's going to be in the squad. I think Pep said everyone is healthy. Okay. I just don't think Holland's going to start after 8 weeks out.
Yeah, that's fair. So anyways, they're just like, it's that point of the season when they're just like, all right, let's kick it into another gear here and let's just go through everyone. That's not my bet. However, I do think that plays a role in what's going to happen in this game. Burnley, obviously way overmatched against City side. I think it's second and last place essentially. second and 19th place. So anyways, enough about that. Looking at Manchester City.
You had to make sure to say Man City second place. I know what you're doing here.
I got the table pulled up here. I'm, just saying what's real.
I know you had to tell the people. You had to remind them about first place. I know what you're doing here.
I didn't even know. Anyways, I got a Manchester City over 7.5 corners. I mentioned, them getting their engines going here, but you look at their past 5 matches in terms of the amount of corners they've gotten. They played Tottenham in the FA Cup. That was last weekend. I think Nathan Ake had a late winner there off a, some might consider it a little bit of a dubious goal, but I think Vicario really needed to come out a little bit stronger. They had 14 corners in that game. They played Newcastle prior to that. They had 13 corners. Huddersfield, again, that was I believe it was an FA Cup match. 11 corners. They had Sheffield in the league again, and that was 12 corners. And finally, Everton, they barely got over that. I mentioned 7.5. They had 8 corners in that match. So I'm smashing this Man City over 7.5 corners. They're leading the league in corners overall. I think they have a little over 160 corners in 21 matches. I think Burnley are going to be locked in. They're going to be sitting back. City's going to have a ton of possession. They're going to absolutely just kind of put them in the pain cave, I think, here. So I love this over 7.5 corners, and that is minus
110.
Minus 110. So I looked elsewhere for City bets, but I think you had to go over 2.5 or over 3.5 for a team total goals, and I'm not going for 4 goals. I think the over is pretty big too. So I try to pick a bet where I'm just let's take City. They're so heavily favored. And the best I could find is the corners where you're getting close to even odds.
Yeah, for this, just looking at the cheat sheet here, right around Burnley or right around Manchester United for corners allowed away from home. So I'll ask you, are you worried at all? Let's say Manchester City score 3 goals in the first half and don't push it all. Are you worried that they only have 7 corners in the last 2 games against Burnley and 9 goals?
I mean, that's right up. It's thin line between heaven and hell there, But, I mean, yeah, sure. But who knows if they don't? I guess if they go up early and they have 2 or 3 in the first half hour, first 45, then it'd be a bit concerning. But heaven traditionally, I mean, they don't traditionally keep their just pull off on the reins. They've smashed teams too. So we'll see. That would be a little bit concerning, but I just you look at those past 5 matches and you just expect them to be. I would love it if Burnley could keep a clean sheet through 40 minutes here, and then I would feel pretty good about this bet.
Yeah, I think a lot of that. Just look at their lineup here. Vincent Kompany had his press conference today and gave no information on any injuries outside of Nathan Redmond being out for the season after surgery. So Charlie Taylor, Jordan Beyer, probably their best center back, Sander Berg in the midfield, just a lot of these regular guys. And then their backups are all kind of championship level players. So I think, going into this bet, maybe a lot of that has to be, you're kind of hoping that some of these guys return from injury. And we honestly don't know anything about them because Kompany doesn't reveal anything. And the Burnley reporters don't really know anything either about these guys. So the hope here for your bet, I'd say, is hopefully, Taylor and Beyer back in the starting 11, which will give them a little more because, guys like, Hans Delcroix on the back line against Man City, I don't think is a good thing for Burnley. My bet here, we got to get this Team Parlay bet back here. We're down a little bit. I've hit my last 3. I looked at it. I've hit my last 3 Team Parlay bets. I guess I haven't mentioned I was 4-0 in our last show. So shouts to me there. But I got another single game parlay, and Tottenham are home against Brentford, and I think there's going to be goals in this one. Brentford games have had a lot of goals lately. Tottenham games have also had a lot of goals pretty much all season. But we know Brentford's issues with fullbacks, wingbacks being injured. Not Maupay. Ivan Toney is back in the starting 11. So that helps Brentford score. That doesn't help them defend. They've had massive issues defending recently. I think there's going to be goals in this one. And I think Tottenham playing at home, I think they're going to win. Big news for Tottenham here. They still don't have Son. They still don't have no, I guess they have pretty much everyone else. But I guess Sar and Basuma are still out. I think actually both of them play today in African Cup of Nations. But James Maddison is back. So that's another boost here for this. I got over 2.5 goals in the single game parlay, but I also have Tottenham money line. So the single game parlay is Tottenham money line with over 2.5 goals at plus 110. You combine that with Manchester City over 7.5 goals at minus 110. That is plus 300 on the team parlay here. So do you think, what do you think about Tottenham here? This is I like this game. I think this is like a 3-1 kind of result here. 4-1 maybe if I want to go heavy. The hope is that it's not it doesn't turn into a 1-0 game, which Tottenham have done this season. But I think James Maddison back is going to lead to a little more excitement for Spurs, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean the 1-0 results have really only come in the FA Cup. Different dynamic, I think, overall. But you look in the league and like 2-2 against United, 3-1 over Bournemouth, 2-1 over Everton. Like there's been no shortage of goals in these Tottenham matchups. In terms of this parlay, the over 2.5 is the easy part, I think, and then just Tottenham money line is where I would probably be concerned. But yeah, fun one. Tottenham easily probably one of the most fun teams to watch in this league, and James Maddison coming. I think he came off the bench. Did you say against City? I think.
Yeah.
So that's a huge get. I mean, he's their best. I mean, maybe him and Son are their best player. I'm curious to see when Van de Ven starts to come back into their lineup, because that's a.
He's been playing. Van de Ven's back. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So. Yeah, I guess he started again in that City game. So they're getting their pieces back too here. So really fun bet, and yeah, see if Brentford can kind of bounce back a bit.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Brentford. They are, I think we talked about them last show. Maybe I don't know, but
yeah, we did, because we talked about the Ivan Toney anytime goal scoring odds, and then we had
and then we didn't take it. We didn't take it.
Yeah, it was plus like something pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was unfortunate. And then he got ridiculed on Twitter for, 72 hours after that. But
yeah, I love the play. I love the little foam, move the ball, move the foam.
Honestly,
then,
I tweeted.
The wall was brutal. Like that wall was.
Yeah. I tweeted about it, but I think Messi did that at some point in the past year. I don't know if it was in the World Cup or something. Like he does that all the time. He moves the ball when no one's looking, kind of a thing. Yeah. And everyone's like, "Oh, look how smart he is." And then Tony does it, and everyone's just like, "He's cheating. Get him out of here."
Yeah, right. I mean, coming off 8 months, Carl. I mean, people kind of have that narrative stuck. But I mean, who's like got on a soccer pitch and hasn't move the ball or try to take a step on a ball on a free kick or done anything.
Part of the game. That's part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I was all for it. Matt Turner's got to step up better wall too. I think at the last, he's telling his guys to move over, and the defender turns around. They take a slight step right, and Tony's got the ball to the left, and yeah, it was not great, but
it's a tough life for Matt Turner. So they signed Vlachodimos. And then he got a couple starts, and then he was benched. So Turner's back. But I've seen rumors of Nottingham Forest signing another goalkeeper. So they're just trying everything, because apparently they do not like Matt Turner. So shouts to him. But that's all we got here for Kits and Wagers. A winning show. We got a lot of winning bets here. Chris, thanks for joining me here. You can find him at CHR08 on Twitter. I'm at RotoZdroik. You can also follow RotoWire Soccer. That's rotowiresoccer.com/soccer trial. To get the cheat sheet, make sure to like and subscribe to everything. Podcast, YouTube. Good luck, everyone. I think, do we have Game Week 23 this weekend? I haven't really looked ahead, because there's all these games going on. All right. So we'll probably be back later in the week then.
We will be back on Friday or Thursday or Friday, probably Friday.
There we go.
Because we got those
Thursday. 2 Thursday matches.
Maybe it could be we'll see, but it could be a beers and wagers or cups of coffee and wagers on?
I got a game. I got a game Thursday, so maybe we'll have to figure something out. I'll maybe do a post-game beers and wagers, something like that. You can work that into it. All right, thanks for everyone for watching. Good luck on your bets, Chris. Good luck on your bets. We need to get back in the positive here. I'm almost positive for the season. Yep. I like my bets this week. We got a plus 220. We got a plus 180. We got the plus 300 parlay. We got a lot of plus bets. So hopefully we can win some of these. Good luck, Chris. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your week. It's only Tuesday, not weekend. Enjoy your week. See everyone later in the week.
Thanks, Adam.